Hello and guten Tag. It is July 2024, the school summer holidays are just kicking off, in the Northern Hemisphere at least, and statistically, some of you are getting ready to start university in the autumn. Or maybe you're beginning to plan which university you're going to apply to next year. Or most likely you're not doing either of those things, because look at my audience demographics. But never mind that. Today we're asking the very important question, which university should you go to? Because there are universities with great history, there are universities with great facilities, and there are universities with great teachers in your chosen subject. But there is only one university that has its very own suspended monorail. And since I just happen to be in the area anyway, and someone's got to come here and test it out for you,
it would be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Welcome to the Dortmund University Dangle Train. I've come to the Technische Universität Dortmund, or the Technical University of Dortmund. It's one of Germany's biggest universities. It was founded in 1968 as a specialist technical university, but they later merged with a nearby School of Humanities, and now you can study pretty much anything here. From science to engineering to mathematics to teacher training, special education and journalism. And of course, we're not here to study any of that. We're here to see what is officially called the Dortmund Hängebahn, or the Haarbahn for short, which translates into English as the Hanging Railway. And it is a 3-kilometre long suspended monorail that goes from one end of the university to the other, with a connection to the main line railway station in the middle. The system opened in 1984, starting with the short section between Campus Nord and Campus Süd, and as long-term viewers of the channel may already have noted, this is not the first time I'm making a video about a German suspended monorail. The Hängebahn is effectively the grandchild of the legendary Wuppertal-Schwebebahn, which opened 83 years earlier in 1901, but you can still see the family resemblance. And I guess that makes this the older sibling of the one at Düsseldorf Airport, which opened 18 years later in 2002, but you can see there's even more of a family resemblance. But despite the similarities, there are some things this one has that Düsseldorf doesn't. And there are some things Düsseldorf has that this one doesn't. For example, Düsseldorf has 2-car trains, whereas here it's just a single car, and Düsseldorf has double tracks, whereas here it's just a single track for both directions. But then the system here in Dortmund has more stations. The line itself is about 50% longer, and at the northern end there are even 2 separate branches. Admittedly, one of them is very short, but it means the trains can serve different destinations, and it's not just a shuttle between A and B. So in the daytime it works like this, in the evenings it works like this, and during quieter periods it's even possible to request your own train and destination, a bit like a taxi. Now, in my old videos about Wuppertal and Düsseldorf, we already talked about how these suspended monorails work and why Germany has 4 of them when the rest of the planet barely has that many in total. So I'm not going to go through all of that again today. But I do have one question about this specific system. Why on earth does a university need its own dangle train? Well, the simplest answer to that question is, they had to have something. This is a big old university with over 35,000 students, and if you need to get from the northern end of the North Campus to the southern end of the South Campus, that is a 2-kilometre journey, and it would take you 25 to 30 minutes to do it on foot. The dangle train, meanwhile, does it in just 7 minutes. And that's not the only advantage. It also stops you getting wet if it's raining. It saves you clambering up and down these steps to negotiate a small ravine that lies between the 2 campuses. And here, it crosses over what appears to have once been quite a busy road. Doesn't seem too busy today though. So, as you can see, having a suspended monorail is extremely useful. But not for the first time in one of my videos. It doesn't really answer the question, why not just use a bus? And yes, clearly they could have just used buses. Let's face it, pretty much any other campus of this size would just use buses. And the only other university I can think of that's got anything like this is West Virginia University in Morgantown in the United States with its famous pod vehicles, as you may have seen in this video over on Tom Scott's channel. But the thing is, one of the main reasons the University of Dortmund was founded in the first place was to help transform this former industrial city into a forward-looking hub of technology for the future. And what better way to demonstrate that than to give it a transport system that still looks futuristic more than 40 years after it was built. Plus, it gets you there faster than a bus does, it takes more traffic off the roads than a tram does, and it requires much lighter infrastructure than a normal railway does. There are many advantages of this kind of system, and also some disadvantages. You can learn more about them in my other videos if you want to check them out. And meanwhile, if you'd like to come here and ride the dangle train yourself, the university is 3 stops from the main station in central Dortmund on line 1 of the S-Bahn suburban network. You just need to get yourself a 24-hour ticket for the Dortmund's transport system, and you can ride it as much as you want. Although, having said that, it's best to avoid peak times when all the students are trying to get to their lectures. Alternatively, of course, you could go all in and just become a student. Either way, the system is fully accessible with level boarding at every station. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.